Welcome to the Redvee TV show, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2024 season, as Saints go to Catalan away.
Lovely stuff. Jealous of him.
Plenty over there already, plenty more following, a 1,500 strong Saints following, getting over to France this weekend. Sadly, we won't be joining them. The one game a year we're missing. Devastating.
Yeah. I actually go on holiday on Sunday, so it's just terrible timing for me.
I've got no other friends to go with. No, unfortunately, my other team has a big game on Saturday. So choices had to be made.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I couldn't justify having already got a ticket for one and having to pay out for another on my own. Anyway, Kevin, are you recovered from last Friday's antics?
Yeah, I think one thing I want to say is when we did the show on Saturday morning, thanks to everybody who thanked us for redoing the show, and to those who said that my voice was an octave lower after all the booze that I'd seemingly put away on Friday. Yeah, you're right, and hopefully it's at the right levels. But yeah, I wasn't rough at all on Saturday, which was an absolute blessing.
I think you've got an iron-lead stomach. I've
just got.
I think you single-handedly kept the St. Helens hospitality industry going for another 12 months on Friday night.
I enjoyed myself.
We all enjoyed ourselves, whether that be the fans or the players. But Kevin, aside from that, it's been a pretty quiet week.
It certainly has.
Not a lot going on. We will get straight on to the team news then. I wonder whether we'll get half as many views this week, since half the following's already gone.
Might do. Who knows?
Right. Catalan Dragon squad, you can talk us through it, Kev.
Well, I'll talk us through the Saints one first while you put that up. 3 changes. So Wonga Blake misses out. Mark Percival obviously failed his HIA, and Matty Lees was hit with a 2-game ban after a tackle on Luke Thompson was deemed to be worthy of a charge and a ban. And they've been replaced by Jake Burns, Noah Stevens, Redvee.net's Noah Stevens, and T. Ritson.
Hit with a 2-game ban.
Hit head high with a 2-game ban.
Head first.
Yeah.
Listen, we've not appealed it. I've said from game one, regardless of whatever team or whatever players involved, accidental head-on-head collisions in the tackle for me should not be resulting in bans. I see the arguments from others who will say, well, the whole point is they don't want players tackling in that way, standing up. They want them to go lower. But it just feels like in such a contact sport at the speed it's played at, that these things are going to happen. We accepted our ban with good grace, it seems, with Matty Lees. Wigan didn't do the same with Tyler Dupree, but got him banned anyway.
Yeah, I think a lot of it as well is down to the insurance of the game, isn't it? And how much that's going to be, and trying to keep it cost effective. As you say, a couple of years ago, that's just a good big hit.
It's interesting that on the actual commentary of the game, it wasn't discussed at any time that it wasn't anything but a good tackle. But when you watch everything in freeze frame, you're seeing contact with the head made, and it was. There's no denying that. Yeah. But should players be getting sat in the stands for it? Would a fine to the players not do if that's what they wanted to do?
Yeah, possibly so. They're obviously trying to make a deterrent out of it. You're right that we don't want to see these players sat down. It's the way the game's going and gone. And as you say, we looked at the we've seen the challenge obviously since, and we've seen that we've not appealed it. I think he was always going to get one. As soon as you see it back and you think, yeah, he's always going to get one, and that's why, again, we're not the case for the prosecution. when it comes to our own players, and rightly so. And it's unfortunately it's one of them. It's one of them. We could talk about it all day long. We could talk about what we want to see and what we'd rather see, but it's the way we've gone.
The minute Luke Thompson goes off as well for the HIA, following it, I know it's a few minutes later, it highlights the instance as well, doesn't it? So it makes them looking at it even closer. It is what it is. Unfortunately, for me, it feels the worst one in the game, which was Tyler Dupree, which was judged to be chest first, is the one that there's no ban for. I'll use a quote that I use on Twitter: "Make it make sense."
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think, and going back to the MRP, I do think it's a shame that we are at the point that we watch a game on a Friday and watch it refed and checked over by a video ref. Then we have a game re-refed over the weekend. And then we sit here on a Monday waiting from about midday onwards to any time up to 4 or 5 o'clock to see who we're not going to be watching the week after. And that goes for if we're watching Wigan, Warrington, Hull KR, Catalan. We're literally just watching to see who gets banned.
Did you see the Cam Smith one?
Oh, was that the one on? Was it Danny Richardson?
Yeah, but he just walks into him basically. And listen, does he touch him? Of course he does. Is that a ban? Absolutely not. And the thing for me is the MRP are given a ban out, and then 24 hours later, another panel of 3 people are telling them that they were wrong to do so. How can you get it wrong? How can you get how can you get decisions and bans wrong so often that 24 hours later, I'd say at least a third of them get reversed?
I think there's a couple of ways of kind of looking at that. Yeah, are they doing it right? But also, you don't want it that is the be all and end all. You've got to have that ability to appeal. But yeah, when you see incidents that one, I mean, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous how that's been given as a ban. How? Make it make sense.
The words. Matt Percival misses out this week as well with the HIA. I think it was Aaron Bauer. He asked the question whether Wonga Blake would replace him this week. And I thought Paul Wellens' words were quite telling in the press conference. And he talked straight away about Ben Davies. He mentioned Sione could possibly play there. And he actually said that anybody who wasn't in the 21-man squad this week would get a game in the reserves on Saturday against Wakefield. So we assume Wonga is going to line up at the Totally Wicked Stadium at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon for anybody who wants to get down there and watch him in action.
Yeah, it's we always talk about how we come up with our opinions on who's going to be picked and who's not, and how the coaches are thinking, and it is a lot on what Paul Wellens says and what has been done in the past. So Paul Wellens mentioning Ben Davies and mentioning Sione Matautia, toss a coin which one's going to be picked.
I'll go for Ben Davies on the basis that he's been 18th man so many times this season. You've got to get him game time at some point. He's a biggish body, and against a strong Catalan pack, you want to put as many big players in the team as you possibly can. And you can't have squad members who never play and are constantly on the sidelines, because he's not. If you look at Ben Davies, he's not played. He's played a couple of times in the reserves, but he's not going out on dual reg. So for me, if you're going to take him to France, you play him. So I see Ben Davies playing centre on Saturday.
I'll tell you what. When was the last time? Well, I'm not even going to include Louis in this, but when was the last time that we mentioned a prop in Sione Matautia as where he's been kind of doing more of his minutes playing centre? Imagine having this conversation about the likes of Kevin Ward or James Graham. And I know Louis filled in a couple of times, but imagine having this about, and I think it's right that earlier in the week, Sione was lauded by Paul Wellens for his ability to fit in anywhere and do well wherever he plays. I I agree with you with Ben Davies. I've been thinking about it all day as to whether him or Sione would play there. And I think it is just the fact of there's a big body either way that's going to be in the centres there. Is it a little bit unfair to pitch him in at Catalan away? Possibly. But you've got to swim. If you're dropped in, you've got to swim. Nobody's expected him to be prime Paul Newlove, to be prime Jamie Lyon. Go out there and do your job. That's all we need him to do.
The other argument I'll give you here, Kev, is Catalan's strength is pretty much in their pack.
Yeah.
Year in, year out. So given that you're already having to bring George Delaney straight in as a replacement for Matty Lees in the squad, why would you then move one of your prop forward department elsewhere in the team? You're going to keep that as together as best you can.
Yeah, you're going to try and keep the unit together, aren't you? That's it. Randomly, I was having a look at the Catalan squad, and they've got like 4 players in the forward line who are all 6'4" and over. They've got another 2, I think it is, who are 6'3". It's a huge unit, so you need to match that. You mentioned about George Delaney probably coming back in. Arguably, you're going to say, well, you need to find room for James Bell in there, so it might well be that Matty Lees drops out and we kind of mix it about and James Bell.
Does James Bell potentially get a spot on the bench ahead of Jake Wingfield? Would he? Again, we're playing the game that we've played for the last few weeks where you've probably got 3 there who are going to miss out, which will be Jake Burns, T. Ritson, Noah Stevens. Whoever's the 18th man is going to find themselves very unlucky.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, I've written down like a team here, and it's one of them that I think it's between potentially Delaney and Wingfield for the bench spot. I almost think Wingfield's ahead of him at the minute. But then I'm thinking,
and you play Wingy as a prop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got to go down the middle. But I also think when James Bell comes on, Morgan Knowles is obviously going to go down the middle and become more of a prop than a 13. But then I look at my bench and I think, well, if it's James Bell, Joe Batchelor, Moses Mbai, and Jake Wingfield, are we missing a prop there? We've got 2 second rows. Are we missing a prop that you might need to just 20 minutes? I'm glad I'm not picking this because it could even be Joe Batch missing out. If you want to give him a rest after his head, I know he's past it, but after his head knock, he's probably not had as many minutes as he would have liked because of injury at the start of the season. Do you give Delaney the minutes because he's been fit and about the squad a little bit longer and he's a prop forward? Do you tell Batch that, guess what, Batch, you're doing 20, 25 minutes up the middle?
I think what this squad does show, Kev, how strong and the strength in depth that we've got is that if you're off ever so slightly with your training, with your habits that week, with your performances, there's a good chance you're going to miss out the following week and you can find yourself out of the squad quite easily. Yeah,
your attitude's got to be on point. You've got to earn your shirt in that team. You've got to keep your shirt in that team, and you've got to make sure you are the right side of the line.
Yeah, and I think equally, once you lose your place as well, you've got to fight on your hands to get back in, regardless of whether you be your Tommy Makinsons or down to your T. Ritsons.
Yeah, and I know, like Paul Wellens has mentioned, people having credits in the bank, so Tommy Makinson would arguably just come walking back in. But you're right that he's got to make sure that he's fit and doing everything, like ticking all the boxes in fitness-wise to come back in. It's like
you're just not going to throw them back in.
Yeah, exactly. So like Iggy passing, Paul's been asked about Iggy this week. And he said, yeah, we've penciled in a reserves game in, like, I think it's May, June time that we've got a reserves game. He said, but we're unsure yet because you're not just, as I say, you're not just going to pick someone in when they're not ready. So you're right. We've got a good old squad there that you think Matty Lees is going to come back into that. Wonga Blake's got to come back into that. Mark Percival's got to come back into that. Iggy Parzy's got to come back into that. That's going to be a tough one to get into the 17.
And you've got young lads. Noah Stevens making the squad again. Jake Burns will want to try and get a game or two. Johnny Vaughan looking on in. It's really strong. Before we move on, talking about youngsters, John Bennison, another cracking game against Wigan. But T. Ritson's named in the 21-man squad, and the copy and paste, play T. Ritson, give T. Ritson a chance, is once again reared its head.
Wondered if that would come back. Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to post this every single week. I'm sure. Listen, if T. Ritson's fan club supported the Tory party, they'd have about 20 million votes.
I'm going to go back to what I said about T. He doesn't need this pressure. He doesn't need the pressure. Let him. He'll find his way into the team. It will happen. It absolutely will happen. Hopefully for him, it's on a dry track and we can see him going forward. So maybe, I don't think we tend to do this, but maybe a team like Hull who are struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
When you play Castleford, when you play London away, he may get games kind of around that time. That could be good for him. He won't just get thrown.
You're not just going to drop John Bennison because T. Ritson's not had a go yet. When John Bennison is in the shirt. John Bennison has been given the number 5 shirt for a reason.
Yeah, it's not everyone wins a prize. And I think that, again, I know people have the favourites and people want to see him, but has T. Ritson shown enough? I'm not even going to say on the field. Has T. Ritson shown enough in training to the coaching staff that he is ready to take over John Bennison's shirt, to take over Tommy Makinson's shirt? I would argue no, because that's why he's in and out of that 21-man squad. That is just that is my opinion. I don't watch training, but there's got to be something in it. There's got to be something in it. You're not just pitching a lad in. And against Catalan, Jordan Abdul all day long would pinpoint T. Ritson. And I saw someone saying that's why John Bennison gets peppered. Brilliant. Keep peppering him. He's a fullback. By trade, he is a fullback. Brilliant. Just put it up to him all the time. Nice one, because then we'll get the ball out and Tommy Makinson will be able to make exit meters. Nice one. Happy days.
Squad, Kev.
Yeah, so three changes for Catalan as well, as far as I can make out. There's going to be no battle of the Sirenans, as Bailey Sirenen isn't named. Fuad Yaha and Jordan Desiree also drop out. Artem Org, I don't know how you pronounce the number 25's first name, so I'll call it Lone Castano. Yeah, that's what I've gone with. And Frank Maria all come in.
If we want to, you could. It's either Lone or Loan.
Loan is probably more right than Lone.
Yeah, I don't think they call him. Loan's an English word, so we're going to go Loan Castano. It's a really nice name, that.
It is, yeah. Loan.
It's always a strong squad Catalan have. I still feel we're a little bit unsure of where they stand this season. Are they potentially the best of the rest after Saints and Wigan? But on home soil, they're obviously always going to be very strong, albeit maybe not quite as strong as they were last season.
Yeah, I think they're missing obviously quite a bit of experience out there, but they've still got enough to cause you damage.
You say that, Kevin. Out of the 1 to 17, they're only missing 5, 6, and 15.
They are, yeah. 5 is Yaha.
Testing you.
6, Jaden Nikamura, is it? And 15 is Bailey Sirenen. Is it Nikamura?
See? Didn't plan that one either.
No, I mean, like, they're missing quite a few. So, like, you take Sam Tompkins out of this squad from last year. That is huge. That's like us missing James Roby for his steady head, for his how he's going to get you around the park, everything like that.
Speaking of Sam Tompkins, he is coming out of retirement. Playing in a fundraiser at Ince Rose Bridge on the 27th of April.
Wow. Well,
it was on his Instagram earlier, and he said, "I'll play as long as my legs last."
We'll be running rings around everybody then.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a massive loss for them. We were discussing this off camera before we started. It's a game that could go either way.
Yeah, we said if this game finished anywhere between 1 and 16 points either way, you wouldn't be surprised. Absolutely wouldn't be surprised. You might be with I think it'll be quite low scoring, just because I think our defence is quite good. But I've said that now. It'll be like 32-28. But I think we're going off patterns and going off what's happened. As long as we keep 13 on the park, we'll be all right in this game. That will give them a game. As we said, he might be missing a few. I noticed Theo Fage didn't play against Warrington. Neither did obviously Artem Org, because he's just come back in, and he played Cesar Rouge at fullback and Hugo Tisson at halfback. So if those two are back in, I could almost.
Is that how you pronounce it? I was looking at his name and thinking, "You go, Tyson."
No, I'm gonna go full.
I was gonna make a boxer joke.
No, I'm gonna go full French /Haydock accent. But again, as I was saying before, they've got like a massive pack there. Mike McMeekan, 6'5", Julien Bousquet, 6'4", Tariq Sims, 6'4". Who else? Is it Matthew Leguere? He's 6'4". Chris Satte, 6'3". Paul. Oh, this one's a good one. Paul Seguier. Yeah, 6'3".
To be fair, Kev, I always think you've got to watch out for that winger, Tom Johnson.
Tom Johnson and Tom Davies.
Jordan Abdul.
Can I just apologise to the whole of the
really bad French accents
for our terrible French? These are absolutely horrific.
Do you know who we sound like? I was going to say we sound like Joey Barton when he tries to do it.
I'm quite happy sounding like the fella from LOLO.
Yeah. Yeah.
The police officer. No, they've got a massive pack, and if they lay a platform for Jordan Abdul to get his kicking game right, and Theo Fage, who will be more of an organizer and will be doing more of the, I'd say, percentage kicks, then it'll be tough for us. If we can get on top in the pack early on, turn the crowd a little bit, get under their skin, then we'll be all right.
Yeah. What I would recommend to the Saints fans going over, don't try to say names in the French accent thinking it will make you more legible. Legible is not even the right word.
It's probably for the best that we're not travelling over this weekend after all of these absolutely excruciating pronunciations of names.
Yeah. But Catalan hospitality is always fantastic. It might be a little bit early in the year for a snail barbecue. So stick to the beer.
Yes. Snail barbecue.
Right. Prediction, Kevin. Come on.
Saints by 7.
Did you know I've done Saints by 8? Oh dear. I can just see us being 8 up now with about 10 seconds to go and Catalan just dropping a goal and going, ha, ruined you.
Fingers crossed.
Right, last news of the week. Hull KR tickets go on sale on Monday at 10 a.m. to 2024 members for the game that goes ahead on the bank holiday weekend, Saturday the 4th of May. The club are only going to receive 800 tickets because Hull KR have fantastically sold out all of the home areas. It's 1 ticket per membership first week of sales. Now, given how strong our away following is, I expect these to go very, very quickly. It's a little bit of a shame they couldn't maybe have left it a couple of extra days, Kev, given the fact that our strong away following is, at least a good few of them are going to still be over in France. It just seems a bit bizarre to put them on sale on Monday morning, given it's, nearly 3-4 weeks before the game. They could have hung on a couple of days for me, just to make sure that everybody has equal opportunity. They are on sale for a week before they go on to general sale. I would be surprised if they reach that.
Yeah, same. I'd be surprised if they reach general sale. Although on saying that, people coming back from France may just chance an arm at it. It's absolutely great that Hull KR are selling out, and hopefully they can start thinking about doing something with that bottom end, you know, where they have Craven, is it Craven Street that they have down there? Fingers crossed they can do something with that end and get another standing, possibly a dedicated away end, whatever. Great to see that the people of East Hull are forcing smaller away fans and are selling out and getting behind their team. So it is good on them, and good luck to any members who are going to try and get tickets from Saints. As you say,
It's
one
print
in
at home, by the way. So I have to say, to be fair, you can do it by logging on your account on the website. So obviously, if you've got telephone access, your internet access in France or Spain, if that's where you're staying, you should still be able to order your tickets, as long as you remember on Monday after a long, hot weekend.
Yeah.
Right, Kev. That is us done and dusted. Do you know what? I hate watching from home. Trying to do a Saints account and trying to do like a fan reaction or a review of a game when you're not actually there makes you feel like an absolute fraud.
Yes.
I'm glad it's very, very few and far between that we have to do it. Otherwise, you lose all credibility. But to those who are over this weekend, enjoy. We might even try and get someone on Saturday night if we can pitch someone in on Zoom. Not sure what state they'll be in. That might not be a great idea, especially by the time the game finishes. Do remember the game is on BBC Three on Saturday as well as Sky. Is it on Sky as well? Who knows? But yeah, it should be accessible for everyone to watch. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're in France, enjoy and stay safe.